Hello, and thank you for joining us for 10 Days of Gratitude, and happy Thanksgiving. With me, sitting right next to me, is the lovely Gladys Diaz. She is an amazing woman who helps people connect their heart and soul in relationships. Welcome, Gladys.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's wonderful to have you with us. Gladys, will you share with us something that you are so grateful for this Thanksgiving season?
And it's going to sound a little cliche, but I really am thankful for everything. I feel like my life is just a complete and total blessing. And one of the games I play, you got to play games in life just to make life exciting, is I really do look for the everyday, ordinary miracles. And so every day I try to live my life from the perspective of something absolutely wonderful is going to happen. And 9 times out of 10, I'm right. Something wonderful happens. So I really am grateful for everything, especially my husband and my 2 children and my life.
That's wonderful. I love that at Thanksgiving in particular, we give gratitude, but we should be doing it every single day of the year. Absolutely. It just totally brings in love. Share with us what you do in your business. And you also, which I think is really cool, because I was a twin as well, but my sister didn't survive birth. You're a twin.
Yes, I am. One half of the love twins.
Yes, and you work with your sister. So will you share with us what you do?
Absolutely. So Michelle and I, my twin sister Michelle and I, we are co-founders of Heart's Desire International. And we're dating and relationship coaches, authors, speakers. And our mission in the world is to have every single woman on the planet experience the joy of loving and being loved every single day of her life.
That's awesome. And in your beautiful opinion, because I know I'll agree with it, why is that so important to be happy, to have love in our life?
Well, it's what we were created for. We really were created to experience love and happiness and joy in abundance. And for us, we know that a real big part of our heart's desire, which is why that's the name of our company, is to have the experience of loving and being loved and accepted fully. That means being loved and accepted exactly the way you are and exactly the way you're not. And we really work to help women. We don't help empower women. We teach women to empower themselves so that they can create the life and the love that their hearts truly desire.
That's beautifully stated. That's awesome. And why is it important? I know that we got into a little bit of that, but why is it important for women to be in love? Besides that we're just here to love more. I know men want to have love, but a lot of them are very afraid, and women seem to be more bold and eager to have it. Why?
So,
yeah, go ahead.
So why is it important? Well, I think it's funny because from the women's perspective, men seem more afraid. From the men's perspective, women feel more afraid. I think we're all afraid because there are no guarantees when it comes to love. And to love means that you're opening yourself up and handing your heart to another and trusting that they're going to care for it. And so the reason we believe it's important, a real part of having a full and complete life is having that love that your heart desires, is because we really were created of love, to love, and we are love. And so when we deny that, we actually deny our life's purpose. And when I speak about love, of course, my industry is the romantic love, but I really mean love, like just loving people, loving life, loving humanity. Mm-hmm. It's just what we were born to do. It's what we were created to do. And when we deny that that's an actual desire, we deny a part of ourselves.
Very well stated. It's really magnificent when we are in that place of love, like you're saying, and our purpose. The magic that is created. It's almost like Thanksgiving, Christmas all wrapped into one, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's Thanksgiving every day. It's Christmas or your favorite holiday every day, because you really wake up every single morning and go to bed every single night saying, you know what? This is what I was born to do. This is what I was born to be in the world. And there really is nothing that compares to that.
One of the reasons I wanted to have you on, and I realize this is a surprise for you, we didn't discuss it before, is I heard a beautiful story, if you'd like to share it with us, of how you met your husband now and the pain and sorrow that you had been in prior, and just what a beautiful blessing it was. Everybody loves love, and everybody wants to understand that they can have hope too. Would you share that story with us?
Absolutely. The day that I met my husband was kind of like a double whammy kind of day. I had been widowed just a few months before. It hadn't even been a year. And so I was very young when I was widowed. I was 27 years old when I lost my first husband. And I just started to get the courage to kind of go out there. I had started doing my inner healing work, and I was beginning to really fall in love with myself, and my confidence was coming back. Stopped identifying with myself as the widow and started becoming the woman again. And so I put my heart out there, and I got stood up. And I was devastated. I was like, how a lot of women are, this is why I'm not going to put my heart out there. And I was very sad. And my best friend said, nope, we're not doing this. We're not doing the pity party thing. We're going to go out tonight. Okay, we'll go out. And so we went dancing, because we both love dancing. And, she gave me the whole spiel. Don't accept anybody's drink. Don't, give anybody your number. I was like, well, can we dance? Like, is that one of the things we're going to be able to do tonight? And she said, yeah, we can dance. So I proceeded to dance all night long. I had so much fun. I really, for the first time, and because my first husband was sick for so long, felt alive. And because I was in what I call my essence, I was radiating. I really felt like I was glowing and happy and just so fulfilled, and had noticed a really cute guy when I walked into the club who was standing by the DJ booth, and he was the only person who did not ask me to dance all night. I was like, darn it. Long story short, end of the night, I tell my best friend, God, I wish that guy would have asked me to dance. And I looked to my left, and he was standing like in the movies, right? Diagonally from me across the dance floor, and our eyes met, and I got so nervous, all I could do was smile. And he kind of went to me, and I went, forget it, I don't have time to play. And I turned around. I'm like, let's go, it's late. And my best friend's eyes are getting this big, and I'm like, is he standing behind me? She said yes. I turned around, and he was there, and we started to talk. We talked for like 2 hours. It was already like 2 a.m. And then the next day we talked for 7 hours. And the day after that, we went on our first date and just continued getting to know each other. And I started to believe that it was possible for me to love again, because when my first husband died, I really thought that it was over for me. Back then, I believed there was only one soulmate. And I thought it sucked that my time had come and gone at 27. Yeah. But my now husband really helped me to see that it was possible for me to love and be loved again. And I believe that that's why this has become such a passion for me. And part of my life's purpose is that every woman gets to experience what it's like to love and be loved.
It truly is amazing with your story of being a widow so young, and then the first time stepping out to have fun, that you meet your husband. Mm-hmm. But you were ready, so you didn't have to do all the stuff of dating and searching and all that, and the fact that you had kind of given up on love and just thought, oh well, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I said I'll be happy again. I'll probably find somebody and be okay. I'll have an okay life, but I don't think any of us is like signed on to have an okay life. I think we want to have an extraordinary life. And you said you were ready. And I'll tell you, because I tell this to my clients all the time, you're never going to feel 100% ready. There's always going to be some aspect of fear or concern, because again, there are no guarantees. I just knew that I wasn't committed to being sad for the rest of my life. And my first husband gave me the gift the night before he passed away. We had our completion conversation where we thanked each other for everything and forgave each other for everything. And he told me, he said, I want you to be happy, and I want you to fall in love again, and I want you to be married. And it was the greatest gift. I didn't want to hear it that day because I knew it meant he was saying goodbye. I was kind of looking for permission for me to let him go. but it was a gift. And he told me something. He said, when you meet him, you'll know. You're just going to know, and you'll know I had something to do with it. And the minute my now husband, Rick, started talking about Star Wars and Star Trek and X-Files and all the stuff that I couldn't stand in my first marriage, I was like, oh my God, he has something to do with it. Am I ever going to be released from sci-fi?
Not with dudes. Wow, that was a tearjerker.
I know, I'm trying. I can't look at you because I'm trying really hard.
Wow, that was really beautiful. It really
Thank
is.
you.
Our heart is often crushed when we lose somebody, and that's also the same in regular dating. Our heart gets crushed, but the reality is we can come back, because it's truly, as you were saying, we were meant to love and all that. It is our divine right to be happy and joyous and magnificent people, and with these creative lives that we can manifest. So share with us what a man or woman would do on their first steps towards manifesting their mate.
I think the first step, and this is one that a lot of people skip, is being really crystal clear about what it is that you want. But I'm not talking about what some other dating and relationship coaches have you create the vision of the person that you want to meet. And the reason we do it a little bit differently is because that puts a lot of the power for what you get to have an experience in somebody else's hands. Like, that person has to be a certain way, look a certain way, have a certain amount of money or education or whatever it is that people have on their 75-point checklist. Instead, what we recommend people do to begin is get really crystal clear on what it is that you want your experience of love to be like. So it's about the experience. What do you want to experience every moment of every day? What do you want to experience when you're with him and when you're not, or when you're with her and when you're not? What do you want your communication to be like? What do you want the level of safety? What are the things that you dream about? Because when we dream, when we have the relationship of our dreams, all this drama and pain and suffering that we bring into it is not part of our vision. It's not part of our design. So when you focus on getting really crystal clear about what it is that you want to experience, then the second step is you begin to be that. So if I want happiness and I want joy and I want peace and I want loyalty and faithfulness in my relationship, then I begin to be happy and fun and peaceful and loving and loyal, trusting and trustworthy. And I begin to attract to myself those things. The person who's interested in that is going to recognize you and is going to say, that's the one I've been looking for. And the good news is there's hundreds, thousands, billions of the ones out there. You get to choose the one you want to spend the rest of your life with. But unless you're crystal clear about what you want, you will settle for what you think you can get every single time. So you want to have that really clear picture of what you want to experience, then begin to be it so that you can have it.
I love the way you describe that, because that is exactly how I also work with people. That's pure manifestation is what you're talking about. Because when you even write it down, I want cheerfulness, love, beauty. And we're not talking, like you said, about the physical 6'5", blah, 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 or whatever.
Exactly.
Because, that totally limits things. Eyes of blue, gray hair, whatever, whatever.
What about if you put 51 and he's 52?
Exactly. That stuff, because that's the human stuff that is not important. What's important, as you said, are the qualities. And then when we manifest them within ourselves as well and demonstrate those, we are only open vibrationally to the ones that will fit us, and it's beautiful. I love that you said that. Do you recommend anything else, like putting that list in? I always tell people to put in their sexy drawer among their lacy lingerie for the women.
We actually recommend that women, put it on pretty paper. Some people have, people go all out with it. Some people have created posters or have blown it up to 16 by 20 and it's a frame in their home. Yeah. Put it in your phone. We recommend that you have it somewhere where you're going to see it every single day, that you read it to yourself in the morning when you first wake up, so that way you're setting the intention for the day. You put it, you read it in the evening. And by the way, this is also for people who are already in relationships, especially if your relationship has started to lose some of the sparkle and some of the fire, you know, the sizzle that used to be there. You want to read it in the morning. You want to read it in the evening. And if you're single, you absolutely want to read it right before you leave on a date. Why? Because you're presencing it. And that means that because you're getting so clear, you're just repeating this to yourself, you're reframing, you're rewiring your brain, you know, freeing yourself from the fears and the doubts from the past. Now, because it's so present, when you're on a date, you won't have to wonder. You know, when you're getting to know somebody, you're either experiencing that or you're not. You're not trying to fix or mold somebody or change somebody to fit that. It's either the experience that you're having or it's not. You're either happy or you're not. You're either peaceful or you're not. You can either feel safe and trusting or you don't. And so the more clear you are, that's why clarity is the very first step, then there's no wondering. You take a lot of the suffering out of dating and relationships that way.
Also, you don't have to feel scared about taking what you're saying, what comes along. You get to actually create the most amazing experience for you, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And what it does is when you take the suffering out, what comes back in is fun. Whether you're dating or you're in a relationship, if you're bored, if you're sad, if you're resigned, you know, there's resignation around your relationship or there's resignation around dating, it's because fun is missing. Mm-hmm. So since it's not going to just happen magically, you have to bring it, you have to be it. So bring fun back into dating and bring fun back into your relationship by really saying, I'm going to create peace, happiness, joy, in spite of what the past tells me is possible, in spite of what my current circumstances might be telling me. Today is the day where I will be peace and I will be love and I will be forgiveness and I'll be all of those things that I want to experience. And I promise you that when that becomes your daily practice, that is what you will begin to experience. And it's not going to be attached or contingent upon the circumstances or the other person, because you're 100% in control of you and who you're being.
Also, doesn't it just make our day so incredible? Those people who are demonstrating with you this type of manifestation, their day, it must be so blessed.
It's magical. It really feels magical. Every moment, like I said at the beginning of the interview, right? Every moment is a miracle. It's like, wow. And I'm not, look, my life is not all balloons and roses. You know, I have challenges just like everyone else. The thing is that I get to choose how I approach those. And I can either choose them like I used to in the past, from a place of fear and a place of doubt, or I can choose to approach it from a place of hope and a place of love. And it's just more empowering that way. So we're going to choose something. Let's choose something that empowers us and gives us the strength and the courage to go forward, rather than succumbing to the fears and the doubts that keep us pretty paralyzed and will keep us stuck in the pain much longer than we need to be.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I get a lot of people writing me, you know, who follow my work and say, you know, everybody's life seems so fantastic. And so I always talk just what you said. Do I know how to create magnificence? Yes, I do. Is my life perfect? No, it's not. But do I know how to bring it back into the right alignment? Yes, I do. So what you're saying is exactly, I'm so grateful that you said that, because see, everyone, she does it too.
It's not just me.
It's not, our lives are not perfect. And we'll tell you, and to be honest enough to say that, I really honor that in you, Gladys. Thank you for saying that, because a lot of people want it to look like that they're just, you know, roses and sunshine all the time, and that, you know, diamonds fall down on them 24/7. But that's not the case. And the most important thing is to know these principles, like what you're teaching, and to then realign ourselves back to expressing and having this wonderful love and excitement and creation in our life.
Absolutely. It really, I know sometimes it sounds easier, because when you're in the midst of the pain, it's pretty hard. And that's why it does help to work with someone like me and someone like myself, because otherwise you left to our own devices, we'll go to what's familiar. And a lot of times what's familiar is what hasn't worked.
Right.
And we've been doing it so long, it's familiar. I call it the uncomfortable comfort zone, right? As uncomfortable and painful as it is, it's what we know. So it's not that things are always perfect. And it's not even that things always go my way. Sometimes they don't. As much of a manifester as I like to say I am, there are times when things do not turn out the way that I had hoped. And then the choice is, okay, so how am I going to be with this? I allow myself time to be sad, and I allow myself time to be mad and pouty about it. I can get bratty from time to time, but it's limited. And sometimes I'll announce in my house, I just need 10 minutes to be in a bad mood. And everybody knows, stay away, not play. And then, I'll come back and I'll be like, okay, what can I do? What can I do in this moment to do something that is in alignment with my vision? If every day we just make the commitment to do one thing that's in alignment with our vision, with our dream, then we know that we're moving in that direction, because we're either moving towards it or we're moving away from it. Right. There's only two ways to go. So if my vision is to live a life that's fulfilling and happy, where love reigns over everything, then even on the day that I wake up on the wrong side, forget the wrong side of the bed, the wrong side of the world, I'm just in a bad mood, then I need to bring myself back. It's my responsibility to do that. So I'm either moving towards my vision or I'm moving away from it.
And that's so perfect. I love that. Will you share with us what is important about bringing gratitude into love? Or why is it important?
Well, gratitude is essential for experiencing anything that you want to experience in your life. And because love is my world, we're going to talk about that. If you are not already grateful for what you have, whether it's a lot or in your perspective it occurs as it's a little, I guarantee you once you start stepping into gratitude, you're going to see just how much there really is an abundance of blessings all around you. But if you can't appreciate what's already in your world, what's already surrounding you, it makes it impossible to receive more. You're just not ready for it. Your vessel isn't wide enough. It's not deep enough. And because there's so much, whether it's resentment or pain, lack of forgiveness, that's stopping you from seeing. It's almost like, I call them these invisible blocks. You don't see them, but they stop you from seeing what's possible and what's already available to you. When you begin to take on a daily practice of gratitude, what begins to happen is you start to notice. I always use the analogy. It's almost like all of a sudden everything is like technicolor, high definition, surround sound, like, oh my gosh, how beautiful, the simplest flower, a bird that you may have never even noticed, and all of a sudden it just becomes the most beautiful thing you ever saw. And I know it sounds woo-woo, frou-frou to some of you, but I'm telling you, you can't say it doesn't work if you haven't tried it. So you've got to do at least 30 days of at least our 10 days of gratitude, right? You've got to do that in order to begin to experience the shift. When you shift your perspective from lack and scarcity to gratitude, you begin to experience abundance in every area, in love, in your health, in your wealth. But you've got to practice it. So people who say, oh yeah, that sounds good, but it's not going to work for me. Try it for at least 10 days. I recommend 30 to start with 10, and tell me if your life does not begin to change. You won't be able to. I've yet to have one person say, I did the gratitude challenge and it didn't work. So, try to find at least 3 things every day in the morning, and then 3 things in the evening. I challenge you to make them different. But, when you're going through a hard time, it might be the same. And I don't know if I have time, Mia, to share the story or the practice that I shared with you during our pre-interview.
Go ahead, yes.
Sure. So 3 years ago, I had an experience that for me, while I was living it, felt like the darkest period of my life since my first husband had passed away. And I had been working for a company for 15 years. And one day they told me I was being laid off. I didn't know until that moment just how identified I'd become. Like my whole identity was wrapped up in this salary and this position and this company. So the first 2 weeks after I got laid off were really dark for me. And honestly, I will tell you, the sadness was comparable to when I lost my husband. And got to the point where I remember one day I was going up the stairs. My kids were at school. That was when I would allow myself to cry because I hadn't even told them yet. It was about 2 weeks after I'd been laid off, and I was coming up the stairs, and I just crumbled halfway up the stairs and was in one of those, why me, God? You know I need this job. You know my family, like just screaming at him. And how could you do this to me? And I just allowed it all to come out, you know. And then it got to a point where I stopped and I said, I am getting on my own nerves. Like, I can't even be with myself this way. Like, who is this person? And why am I acting like this? I'm on the stairs of my dream house, right? It's not a mansion, but it's the house that when I saw it, I knew that was going to be my home. Mm-hmm. I have 2 beautiful, healthy children. I have my husband. What is going on with me? So I was able to work. I saw immediately there was a shift. I was able to make my way up the stairs, got to my desk, started making some phone calls in the direction of my goal. The next morning I woke up with that familiar, the way I can describe it is like there was a weight on the pit of my stomach. And it was that anxious butterfly, but not the good kind, you know, butterflying feeling. And I said to myself, I am not getting out of this bed until I disappear this fear. I'm not getting out. And I knew what time I had to be out of that bed to take my kids to school. And I just started thanking God for everything that I could think of, every person in my life, every material possession, anything. And if I felt even a tinge of that anxiety, I kept looking for more. So eventually it was like, thank you for the carpet. Thank you for the wooden blinds. Like, I didn't even know what else to say. And the fear disappeared. And I felt happy for the first time in 2 weeks. So I said, okay. That night when I went to bed, because that's when, again, the anxiety would come back because your brain starts going crazy. I'm not falling asleep till I disappear the fear. And I did it again. And doing that every single day, I began, because see, I only practice I only preach what I practice. Mm-hmm. So doing that every single day, at the end of the week, my life really began to change. But the funny thing is, none of the circumstances had changed. I didn't all of a sudden have my job back. None. It was just my life began to change. And so it's one of the practices that I share with my clients every morning and every evening, especially if you're going through a moment of anxiety. Disappear the fear with gratitude. And if there's no fear, then just intensify the joy with gratitude. And it's just been a practice that now has become a daily thing. Sometimes I write it down. I have a gratitude journal right next to my bed. I have one here in my office. As much as I can, I try to write it down, but if not, then I just rattle it off during the day. 20,000 things a day happen, and it's like, I say thank you, God. You can say thank you, or I'm just grateful for however you want to express your gratitude, but it will completely transform your life.
That's awesome. That's really beautiful. Thank you. And did you have a gift that you were giving people?
Yes, we do. Now, this gift is more for women because that's who we work with. But men, if you give this to a woman in your life, brownie points. So the book is called 30. It's an ebook, and it's called 30 Days and 30 Ways to Fall in Love with You, a 30-day journey to discovering self-love. And what we did was we brought together a bunch of what I call heart messengers, and they're all different industries. They business coaches and feng shui instructors and interior designers, just women who had made a difference in our life and Michelle, my life, whether through their blogs or we'd seen them speak or some way we were connected. And they made a difference in our lives, and we wanted to come together and create something beautiful. And we did. So it's a 30-day, kind of like a journaling experience. There's an inspirational story or meditation or exercise and a positive affirmation for every single day. And it's a 30-day journey towards falling in love with yourself and discovering the love that's already waiting there for you.
That's awesome. That's incredible. What a beautiful Thanksgiving gift. Thank you. I love that. That's awesome. What would you like to leave us with?
I always end all of my trainings and my coaching with a phrase. And we started out talking about your birthright, which is the right to have the experience of loving and being loved every single day. And I just want you to know that who you are, who you were created to be, exactly the way that you are, even with all the work that there is to do, you are lovable. And I actually always write it love-able. You're able to love, and you're able
Beautiful.
to be loved. So remember that during the hard times, during the happy times, you are love able. And also, until our hearts meet again, always remember that you are loved.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us, Gladys. It was wonderful to have you on and for you to share your beauty and your wisdom and your gratitude with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation, and I love you.
You're welcome. I love you too. And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in another segment. Bye.